Sylvia. Delighted to have you join us there on this beautiful spring day.
Yeah.
Sylvia, just as a short introduction, I know that you'll pick this up yourself when I hand over, but professional business speaker, professional speaker, member of the Professional Speakers Guild, do a lot of work in there, Sylvia, and also whose business focus is on helping us to maximise the talent within our leadership and within our teams. And we were very fortunate pre-lockdown and pre-social distancing to have a fabulous session with our friends at Scotland House, where you certainly gave a fabulous insight into developing the best that teams can be, Sylvia. And you very generously came forward and said, look, this is working from home. I have some hints and tips around this. In fact, you shared it with 350 people online last week. Honestly, Sylvia, that is just blowing my mind. And thank you so much, Sylvia, for taking over the next 30 minutes on today's Insights programme to talk through with us in your always practical and insightful way around working from home. Sylvia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Christine, and I'm delighted to be here. And I just wanted to make a slight correction. This was advertised in the email as online networking. However, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be touching on online networking, but actually my main topic is top tips to be hyper effective working from home. And I do recognize that a lot of you probably work from home already. But if you're anything like me, you started off with great habits and they one by one slipped by the wayside, and you've probably forgotten a lot of the things that you used to do that made you really effective. And now that we have this focus period where we're working from home all the time, it's really important to set up some habits and some routines that we can then take forward when we come through and out the other side. So Christine, I'm just going to share my screen so that I can share my slides. There we go. So yeah, and you know, I just wanted to say that we're all in this together. We're in it. There is no point in bewailing it. We've just got to make the most out of it. But I really wanted this session to be not just about getting through this time, but actually thriving through this time. And as I said earlier, adopting new habits that are going to really change how effective we are going forwards, because this situation is going to change the way we work forever. And certainly I know that I've been working with clients over the last couple of weeks who up until now really resisted online coaching and training and always wanted it face to face. And they're now realizing how time effective and cost effective it is to use the online platforms that we're blessed with now. And, you know, there's never been a better time to be able to connect with people online than there are now. So many ways to connect. So embrace it, enjoy it. And just by way of introduction, for anybody that doesn't know me, thank you, Christine, for that introduction. It's just a little bit more about me there. Active member of the Scottish Business Network. Absolutely love being a part of this network. What I want to do is just quickly look at some of the benefits of working from home, because there are many. I'm going to look at some of the challenges that come up. And if I don't mention a challenge that you're finding right now, please be very vocal about that. I'll pause and ask if there's any challenges that you're experiencing that I haven't mentioned. But then I want to share 16 top tips that will help you to be more effective and more productive at home. And then there'll be a bit of time for questions at the end. So let's start with some of the benefits. First of all, no long commute. Now, some of you might be very lucky and be literally in work in your office environment in 5 or 10 minutes. A number of the clients I've been working with have a commute of an hour and a half each way. That's 3 hours a day. If you multiply that up by 5 working days, that's 15 hours, the equivalent of 2 full days. They have now gained that time back. And I'm not suggesting that you work an extra 15 hours a week. I'm suggesting that you get a better work balance, because you can start your day at 7 o'clock, if that's when you normally leave, and finish at 3 and enjoy some of the beautiful sunshine that we're enjoying down here in the southeast. And I hope wherever you are in the country that you're getting some of this fantastic sunshine as well. We're also saving money, because commuting is expensive, and it's not just the cost of the transport. It's all the extras, the coffees that we grab on the way, the snacks, the lunch that we pick up on the run. So that's one great benefit of working from home. Secondly, you can set up your own environment. Now, this lady's obviously sitting at a breakfast table. She's got the garden around her. There's lovely natural light. So I really suggest that if you can, you have a dedicated place in your home that you work from, if you don't already work and have a dedicated office. And make sure it's got natural light if possible, a nice outlook so you can lift your eyes frequently off the screen and just look outdoors. If you're in cramped conditions, you may need to have a dressing table in your bedroom, or you may need to have an end of a dining room table, but good to have a dedicated space that when you go there in the morning, the brain switches from leisure to work mode. Third basic benefit of working from home is the lack of interruptions. When we're in an office environment, we are constantly being interrupted with people wanting our opinion, wanting us to join them in a meeting, wanting us to check over something they've written or sign something. Put that together with the fact that we've constantly got email notifications coming in and the pings on our phone of all our social media channels. Our brains are tired out. They're constantly on from the minute we get up till the minute we get to bed. And one of the great benefits of working from home is you can minimize those interruptions and you can really focus on the task in hand and be incredibly productive. Here are some scary stats. Interruptions of just a few seconds can cost more than 23 minutes for a worker in an office to get back to where they left off. That is staggering. And then interruptions as short as 2.8 seconds can cause twice as many mistakes. And an overall survey that was done recently found on average, open plan offices can reduce productivity by as much as 40%. Now, I'm not denigrating open plan offices. It's great to have the buzz of people around you. But what I'm hoping that this period of isolation does for us is that we realize how much more productive we are when we are not interrupted and when we're not interrupting others. And it will make us more mindful of sticking our head above our computers and just asking a random question, which interrupts the whole team around us. Then, of course, there's the benefit of getting out in the fresh air. And it's really important for our brain to be able to defocus and get out and just process all we've been working on and be ready for the next raft of work that we expect it to take on. And getting out in the fresh air is a wonderful way just to decombust. So if you've got a garden, make sure you're walking out there regularly, breathing in deeply. If you're in an apartment, get out and get your daily walk out onto your balcony if you have one. Or if you haven't got one, just put your head out the window and breathe in that fresh air. You get better work-life balance because you decide when you're starting, when you're finishing, when your exercise time is, when your time with your family. And as I say, you get time back from the lack of the commute. And then finally, one of the benefits I want to highlight is that you can build in online learning. It's never been easier to top up our skills and our learning than it is right now. And there's so many fantastic webinars, podcasts, YouTube videos, online courses that you've probably been promising yourself you would do forever. And building in online learning week by week means that you'll come out of this with some new skills and some new knowledge and wisdom you can share with your team and with your clients. So let's now look at some of the challenges. And if you've been used to working in a buzzy team environment, one of the big challenges is the silence and the isolation, particularly if you're on your own. And you'll really be missing that interaction, that daily buzz of people arriving, people lifting your mood when you're going through a tough challenge. And that can impact hugely on your energy, your positivity, your motivation, and ultimately your productivity. You're probably also missing the buzz of people around you, being able to brainstorm an idea, being able to get on the spot advice, insights into something you're working on, help with a project or technology. And that again can feel quite isolating, and it can really stop you in your tracks because you're not quite sure where to go next. So I'm going to be talking in the tips about how we can keep connected with the people that we normally work with. I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days. And one of the challenges working from home is being really structured in our day, because there are so many distractions with family around, with domestic chores to do, with just coping with the current situation, that it's easy just to drift through our days and at the end of it not really be able to see any progress. So you've probably all heard this quote, failing to plan is planning to fail. And in my tips section, I'm going to share a really effective planner that I find helps me to be so much more productive than just drifting through my day, meandering from one task to another. And then, of course, if you've got partners and children at home, they will relate you being at home to fun times, because when you're at home, normally it's weekends or holidays and you've got lots of time to be with them, play with them, have games and lots of fun and laughter. And they'll find it quite difficult to adapt to the fact that you need to do some serious work while you're at home. So the important thing is to give them enough information so that they understand why you're having to work, and then come to some arrangement with your partner about what times of day you're each going to work, and therefore what times of day you're going to be the key point of contact with the children if they're young. And then let the children know who to come to during that time period. Now, as we all know, kids have got a very warped idea of time, and you might say you're going to be with them in an hour, and every 5 minutes they'll be coming out and saying, "Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet?" So one way to counteract that is to set up an iPad, to have a timer on an iPad and set it for when you're going to be ready to play with them, so that they can look at that instead of asking you, and they can see the minutes ticking down until you're going to be available. Not that they're going to just be watching the clock, of course. You want to make sure they've got plenty of activities to keep them amused. And then my last challenge I just wanted to address was the challenge of fear. Now, we are in unprecedented times and they're scary. And I think it's really important to recognize that we're all a bit afraid about what's going to happen in the future. We're all a bit worried that it might impact on our family, our friends, our colleagues, and that's okay. And we're so typically British, mustn't think about it, mustn't talk about it, must put on a brave face and carry on as normal. And I think it's just important to register that these are scary, uncertain times, and it's okay to feel scared. Not to dwell on it, not to wallow on it, but just to recognize it. But one thing I would say is that try and avoid constantly looking at your phone and updating yourself on the latest figures and the latest news. I think it's really important to know what's happening, to be updated on the latest guidelines, but to have the news on frequently throughout the day will serve no purpose. It will drain your energy, it will stop your positivity, and it will just keep you in that atmosphere of fear, that mindset of concern and worry, which doesn't help anybody, doesn't help you or the people around you. So it's about staying positive in this time, but not denying that it's happening. So having said that, let's move on to some of the top tips. And as I said earlier, really important to have this designated part of your home that's purely for work, that you can set up and leave, and your brain knows when you sit there, you're in work mode. And make it as user-friendly as possible. Have some plants, have a nice picture, but not lots of clutter on your desk. And just on that note, lots of us have piles of pending files, post-it notes all over the place to remind us of things. And apparently, when we've got papers on our desk, we will look at them a minimum of 15 times during the day. And then our brain registers that we need to get back to that. It's something that we need to do. And that drains the brain's energy. So try and have only what you're working on your desk, your computer, your bottle of water, and whatever other things you need to make that desk user-friendly, but no clutter. There's a story of a blind lady who works in an open plan office, and when the desks around her get cluttered, her energy and her productivity go down dramatically. She can't see it, she can just sense it. So clutter has a huge impact on our energy. Get creative with your working space. I love this idea. Working in the garden, a canopy there to keep off the glare of the sun. If you can do that, brilliant. Or this clever chap who's set up a stand on his balcony and he's again out in the fresh air working. Why not make the most of it? And I just want to share my working space. This is where I am right now. And I look out on a lovely garden, got the Chiltern Hills in the background, and I always have flowers, a candle, some crystals, and my essential big bottle of water on the desk. And it's my happy place to be. I just love it. So make your workspace somewhere you look forward to being. And then I'm a great believer in making work fun and making it visual. The brain recognizes and connects with pictures much more effectively than it does with black and white type. So I have an A3 pad that I use whenever I'm creating this webinar, for example, which is what's there. Any new talks, workshops, I always brainstorm with lots of different colors, so it's really visual. And it really helps me to get a sort of context of what I want to share. And then on each of the topics, I can brainstorm that on a further mind map. I also have a heavy duty set of headphones. My husband and my 2 daughters who are in their 20s are at home right now with us. And so when everybody's online or on phone calls, I need to drown out the noise. And a really good set of headphones does that for me. I usually play some motivational music in the background and then I can really focus. So have ways in which you can zone out from peripheral noise. I promised a planner. So this is my weekly priority planner. I set this up on a Sunday night and I also use it daily. So first of all, the urgent tasks are all the things I really need to get done in the week ahead. The important tasks are things I'd really like to get to, but they're not as urgent as the urgent. And the pending tasks are anything where I'm waiting for more information. I might be waiting for a colleague to get back to me with their input. I might need to do some more research, but I don't want to try and remember it in my brain. So I'll write it down. So I've captured it and I'm not having to worry about forgetting it. The next row, I delegate anything that my team can do better than me. So my team consists of a PA, a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a social media expert. So I delegate whatever I can to them so I can focus my time and energy on what I love doing and what I do best and where I add most value to my clients. Anything that I'm mulling over, haven't quite decided to move forward with, goes in my decision box. And again, I just want to capture it so I'm not having to hold it in my brain and use up that brain space. And then anything that can wait till the following week goes in next week. And then I just kind of summarize that by writing down my major goals for the week, projects I want to move forward, and major tasks and actions. So that really sorts my week out. And then on a daily basis, always the night before the next day, I will go through and fill in my daily tasks, urgent, important, delegate, etc. So I find that when I sit down in the morning, I know exactly what I'm starting with, and it makes for a highly effective day. Very happy to share that template with you at the end of the call. Taking breaks. Now, I don't know what you're like at home, but it's so easy to sit down at your laptop first thing in the morning and not get up until lunchtime. And of course, that's not an optimal way to work. There's been loads of studies and research done on the ideal time to work for and the ideal time to have a break. And the latest findings show that 52 minutes is the optimal time to work for in any one period, and then a 17-minute break. So 15 to 52 minutes on, 17 minutes off. Now, obviously, if you're in real creative flow, if you're writing a book and you're really in flow and you want to carry on a bit longer, then that's okay, as long as it's the exception. But the longer we carry on beyond that 52 minutes, the less creative we become because the brain is getting tired. And you will find by taking regular breaks, you're actually more productive and more creative. Great way to do this is to set a timer on your phone. And I tell you what, when you know you've got 52 minutes set on your phone, it doesn't half speed you up. It's like trying to empty your in tray the day before you go on holiday. You know you've got a deadline to hit, and boy, do you hit it. So it actually makes you work really effectively. And then make sure you set the timer for your break, because you might just be used to taking a couple of minutes and grabbing a quick coffee and getting back to your desk. So 17 minutes will seem quite long, but you'll get used to it, and then you'll manage to take yourself out, get some fresh air, and have a proper break, which will make you much more effective coming back. And then, of course, nutrition is really important. At the moment, well, always, but particularly at the moment, we need to have the strongest immune systems we can possibly have. And our immune system is very much influenced by what we're taking in through our food. So eating a rainbow is something that all nutritionists recommend, and this is a rainbow plate. Lots of different types of foods and lots of different colors. It's so easy when we're busy to just grab the sandwich or the toast and sit back down at our desk and eat at our desk and carry on. And we'll get that sharp increase in our blood sugar, but then we'll get the resulting dive, which is why we often have that post-lunch slump after carbohydrates. So best way to manage this is to prepare in advance. Have lots of crudités ready in your fridge, some dips, have some fresh fruit, nuts, seeds, some protein, so that when you go to the fridge, you can instantly have a really good, nutritious plate of food that's going to feed your brain and nurture your body and strengthen your immune system. Right, I'm going to stop for a second and ask you a question. How much of our brains, as in what percentage of our brain, do you think is water? Give me a number, Christine.
Sorry, give you another. At that point there, my whole brain was water because I couldn't find the unmute button there.
Love it.
What? Oh, good. You're now throwing me in. 30%. Kendra's saying 60. 80.
Kendra's saying 60. Who's saying 80?
Yeah, from one of our supports there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The answer is 85%. So it is huge. Unfortunately, most of us are dehydrated most of the time. And you've probably heard we should be drinking 8 glasses of water a day, depending on the size of the glass. So that equates to 2 litres. So that is 3 of these. And I find it really easy to have a container that I know I need to drink 3 of those to get my 2 litres a day. And I've drunk 1.5 of these. So I'm now on my second half of the day in getting my 2 litres. So really important to keep topping up your fluids throughout the day. And that doesn't include tea and coffee, by the way. That is pure water. Now, let me just share some of the benefits or some of the things that happen when we're dehydrated. When your brain depletes by just 1% of water, you're likely to have a 5% decrease in cognitive brain function. So that's things like your attention span. It's like recalling information from the past that you just can't quite get hold of. And also lack of water cause fatigue and memory problems. So you will find that if you're drinking 2 litres a day, your brain will function much more effectively. So keep some water by your desk and keep drinking throughout the day. And by the way, room temperature is best, and still water. You know, if you're in Scotland, then the tap water is absolutely wonderful. So fizzy water, not so good. And then important to establish a daily routine. And, you know, our health and well-being at the moment is incredibly important because stress also depletes our immune system. So it's important to build in time for you. And it's never been a better time than right now when we've got this enforced lockdown to start introducing some new healthy habits that you can take forward when we come out the other side. Now, some of you may be incredibly healthy right now and doing lots of this already, but I just wanted to share some of the things that I do on a daily basis, and some of them might just resonate with you and you might want to try them, but I don't expect my routine to be your routine. We're all individual. The first thing I do in the morning is reach for my phone and I listen to a guided meditation. Now, I use a free app called Insight Timer. So it's Insight with no S on the end, Timer. And it's packed full of meditations, podcasts, great music to listen to, all different lengths. So if you've only got 5 minutes, you can listen to 5 minutes. And the benefit of that is that our brains, when we're sleeping, are actually working quite hard because, first of all, when we go to bed, they are detoxing from the day. Secondly, they're processing everything that went on during the day. They're storing some of it and deleting some of it. Then thirdly, they are going through neurogenesis. So they're creating new brain cells. So to go from all of that activity to suddenly up and into our busy day, it's quite a shock to the system and the brain. And it's so much better if we gently transition into our working day. And meditation is a way to do that and to allow the brain just to gently transition and focus on the day ahead. Second great thing to do, particularly at this time, is just to write down 5 things you're grateful for. And it doesn't need to be anything major. It can be waking up to a beautiful sunny morning, as I did this morning, or having a hot cup of tea by your bed. It can be looking forward to some client calls or to some activities with your family. It might be just being very grateful that you've got food in the fridge right now, or grateful that you're well. It doesn't need to be anything hugely dramatic, but starting the day with that attitude of gratitude puts a really positive perspective on the day ahead. And if you're having a rough day and you pick up your gratitude diary and you read through a few of the days previous, it brings you back into a positive mindset. Third thing I love to do is journaling. Now, journaling is not a dark art. There is no right or wrong to it. Journaling is just literally brain dumping your thoughts. And it's a way of clearing all that brain fog. And particularly now when we're naturally feeling a bit anxious and uncertain, it is a great way of just getting some of those thoughts down on paper, which is almost a bit like chatting to a counsellor, because you're getting them out there, you're writing them down, you're analysing why you feel that way, and it can really make you feel so much better. And then sometimes while you're journaling, you'll find you'll come up with an idea or something you want to do, and just note that down somewhere so you don't lose that thought. The key thing here is once you've finished writing 1 page, 2 page, 3 pages, whatever you want to write, just shut it. Don't read it again, because what you've done is you've downloaded your thoughts. By reading it, you're uploading them again, and you're filling your brain up with that jumble of thoughts and concerns. So it's a great download. Fourth thing I love doing in the morning is a bit of yoga and exercise, just stretching and toning and looking out in my garden. I'm usually listening to a meditation while I'm doing it, and it just sets me up for the day. And so what could you do? What could you introduce to your daily routine that would make you feel a bit fitter, a bit healthier, make you feel that you're valuing yourself, that you matter? And then the final thing is creating a fresh vegetable and fruit juice. And that's something I introduced after a retreat I went on in Scotland a couple of years ago. And it's made a massive difference to myself and my family. My husband used to suffer from gout. It's completely cleared up since he's had this. And I can almost feel my cells saying thank you as this juice goes down into my body each day. So that's my routine. As I say, I don't expect it to be yours, but right now it's never been more important than it has been before to introduce new healthy ways of living and boosting our immunity. Little chat about what we wear. If you roll out of bed, sit on your sofa in your pajamas, or sit at your desk in your pajamas, your brain is still in relax mode and it's not switching into work mode. It's important to have a demarcation between rest and work. Don't need to be suited and booted, but just dress in something bright that you feel good in, something colorful that you love, and it will really lift your mood. So, you know, examples, lovely lady here, bright yellow jumper. If you want to wear jeans, that's absolutely fine. Wear a smart shirt, but think of it as, what would I feel professional in on a webinar where I'm being seen by other people? And then I mentioned staying in touch, and it's never been easier to stay connected than it is today. And I know a lot of teams are having daily Zoom calls to brainstorm ideas, discuss challenges, make sure they're moving in the right direction. And that is really important, staying in touch with your teams and bouncing ideas off each other and supporting each other and still feeling you're acting as part of a team. But I also think it's really important to have an accountability buddy. So somebody that you have a call with every day, you talk about what you're specifically working on, your goals, what you want to achieve in that day, and you have to report in the next day on what you've accomplished. There is nothing like having an accountability call looming to make you get things done. And then, of course, extend this into your social. I'm sure a lot of you are into your social life. I know that we've had Zoom calls, cocktail hours on Saturday night. We've had games hours with friends. And they were saying on the news right now that one of the big benefits of this time is that people are getting in touch with friends that they haven't spoken to for a long time. They're spending more time in communication with family. So that's one of the major benefits. And then I mentioned earlier about learning. TED Talks are 18 minutes long. So building a TED Talk in once or twice a week, they are so inspiring. You will learn something every single time. And then you can share some of that learning on social media. And of course, all the wonderful webinars, podcasts, online courses that we can tap into. This is a great, great time to increase your knowledge. And also a great time to work with a coach and a mentor, somebody who can challenge you on what you're doing, how you're working, what your vision is for the future, whether you want to step up, step sideways, change your career pathway. Perfect time to work with a coach. And you've got the time to do it. Online networking, I just want to touch on this, and I just love this picture because when I'm coaching people on Zoom or having a networking call with somebody on Zoom, it is like they're just sitting across the table from me. We are blessed with such great platforms to communicate on, and what a wonderful time to network with people who are also in isolation and lockdown, and ultimately will have more time to do this. So some of my top tips on online networking. First of all, research the person you want to network with. Find some common ground so that when you're connecting with them, you're making it personal. It's not just this bland, anonymous, so-and-so wants to connect with you. So look at them, look at what they do, look at what their hobbies are, look at perhaps the school they went to, find some common ground and then send them a personal message. So, you know, I see you went to Eastwood High School, which is where I went to, or I see you're connected to so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. I know them really well. It would be great to make a connection with you. Make it personal. You're far more likely to take it to the next level if you've got some mutual connection. Often when I'm connected with people, I'll say something like, I see that we share 75 mutual connections and a love of empowering people. We have a lot in common. I'd love to connect with you and explore mutually beneficial opportunities. Something like that, really personal. And I've never had anybody reject that message. I get a lot of people connecting. And from a lot of that, I've built a business in Scotland. So the more personal you can make it, the more likely people are to respond to you. Add value. So I think it's really important to be watching what other people are doing, to comment on their posts, to share their posts and tag them in it, and to add articles of value. And right now, you know, people are struggling in lots of different ways. So how can you help them? How can you use your skill set to help people who are going through this challenging time? And I put this webinar together because one of the companies I'm working with in Glasgow, who were transitioning their team to working from home, they were finding real problems, particularly with the younger members of their team who had never worked from home. And they were really in a panic mode. They just didn't see how they could be effective at home. They were really worried about the isolation. They were worried about their productivity. And therefore, I put this together for them. And they found it really valuable because I was meeting a specific need. So what do your target market need? Add value. And then when do they need you? So I produced this webinar right now because it was the right time for it. So when you've established that need, is it right now? Or are you planning something for when people are going to be coming back into the workplace? Is there some value you can offer to prepare them for that? And then keep it brief. Nobody wants a great long message. Keep it brief, keep it to the point so people can instantly see what it is you're asking for. And then have a really clear call to action. So I'm a great believer in making the first contact with that personal message. And then once they've come back to me, going back again and saying, lovely to connect with you. I would really like to take this a step further. It would be wonderful to have a Zoom call. Would you be up for a call next week? And then I'll send some ideal times, not just leaving it as would you be up for a call, but actually sending some times to make it more definite. And 9 times out of 10, people come back and say, that would be great. And they have a call. So have a really clear call to action. What a perfect time to build our networks right now. So I've got some special offers. I'm just going to flash these up because this is not about selling, but this is special offers for right now for anybody that wants to work on their personal development. And I've got full details on my website. So that's a 6-stage coaching program on really connecting with your value and bringing more of yourself to the fore so that people can see instantly the value that you offer. I'm offering a power hour to just review where you are, revitalize, recharge, and think about where you're going in the future. And I'm offering masterclasses for groups and teams. All the details of these are on my website, sylviabaldock.com. Now, I've just got a few thoughts to share with you as I come to a close. And these are thoughts I just wrote down when I was putting this together. Your thoughts become your actions. If you tell yourself you can't work from home, the brain will accept that, and the outcome will be poor productivity. So, in summary, embrace the many benefits of working from home. Savor the connectivity we have with colleagues, clients, and prospects, better connectivity than ever. Stay positive and resilient by investing in your greatest asset, which is you. And all of these tips I've included in my newsletter this month. If you'd like that, I'm very happy to send it to you. Just email me. It's sylvia@sylviabaldock.com. And I just wanted to read some further thoughts. Remember, we are part of history in the making. And in years to come, children will read about this time in history, and they will learn about how resilient we were in these incredibly challenging times. You can go through in fear and negativity. You can complain about things you can't buy, people you can't see, or things you can't do. And in so doing, not only drain your own energy, but drain the energy of everybody that you interact with. Stress depletes our immune system, and God knows we need our immune system to be stronger than ever right now. So start the day with gratitude for another day to live your life, to create, communicate, evolve, and grow. We are being stretched in a way we've never been stretched before. We are tapping into hidden strengths we didn't know we possessed, and we will come out stronger and wiser as a result. And just a final quote from the wonderful Oprah. Be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never ever have enough. Thank you.
Wonderful, Sylvia. Thank you so much indeed for taking the time to pull that all together and to share with us. Thank you so much. Very appreciative.